I'm Emma.
And I'm Gabby.
Welcome to the first episode of our new YouTube series called Fremont TV. New episodes will be coming out twice a month.
That's right. We're so glad you could join us today. We have a lot in store for you, but first, let's start with the highlights of last semester and the beginning of this one.
Last semester, we hosted our first rally of the year with featherettes, cheer, drama, and ASB hosting numerous donation drives, including the menstruation drive and the California wildfire drive. There was a back-to-school spirit week, a Halloween spirit week, teacher takeovers where the FHS staff had control of our Instagram at Firebird Felipe, and there was so much accomplished by our school, even in this virtual setting.
Love's Day and elections for ASB and class cabs are coming up, so stay tuned in March and check your emails. Also, for our athletic Firebirds, if you haven't already heard, please refer to this visual of the Season 3 sports schedule for the semester. Practice for Season 2, which includes the sports of field hockey, gymnastics, football, boys and girls soccer, badminton, girls volleyball, and traditional competitive cheer. Make sure to note which COVID tier your sport is in, along with the restrictions.
Wait, there's one thing we didn't mention in the announcements. The upcoming cooking segment.
Our new segment is called Fremont's Favorite Recipes. It's filled with amazing recipes from your fellow Firebirds.
We asked students and teachers to submit their favorite dishes and recipes, and this is what we received.
We're going to need about 8 outer leaves from Napa cabbage, a handful of shrimp, about 3/4 pound of ground pork, some fish sauce, sesame oil, and salt, and of course, some wonton skins. Okay, we're ready to start. Break off 8 leaves from the Napa cabbage, wash them, and dry them. Now grab a cleaver and slice the leaves crosswise. The thinner you slice it, the faster the chopping will go later. Next, cut the pile of leaves in the other direction. Then chop the cabbage into tiny bits. Once the cabbage is ready, peel the shrimp. Then chop the shrimp into 1/4-inch pieces. Put the shrimp in a large bowl with the pork. So first I'm going to squeeze out the vegetables. And if you want to keep the vitamins, you can squeeze the water into the cooking pot. Okay, once you have your napa and pork and shrimp, if you're using them in your bowl, you can start adding condiments. So I use fish sauce if I'm using shrimp, maybe like a tablespoon, and then some sesame oil, probably also about a tablespoon, and then depending on how much fish sauce you put in, you also might want to add some salt. I put quite a bit of salt. And that's it. And then you can either stir with chopsticks or a spoon or your hands. Mix everything together until it's completely mixed. Okay, once you have the meat and vegetables stirred together, it's time to wrap them. So we have the wrappers here. They're square. And every family folds them a little differently, I think. So this is how my mother's side of the family folds the wontons. So you take a small amount and you put it on the square, and then you smear it out because that's supposed to make the wontons nice and wrinkly when you cook them. And the first thing you do is you fold a triangle, just corner to corner like that. And then you take both layers and you fold them the flap over, pinch the corners, and then turn the ends backwards like that. Let's try another one. Okay, so you smear the meat. You don't want to put too much because it gets difficult to fold. You fold it corner to corner, fold over both layers to make a flap, pinch on the edges, and then turn the two tails backwards. And you just keep going and going until you're done. This package has about 100 skins in there, so it's going to take a while. But through the magic of video editing, here they are, ready to cook. Add plenty of water to your cooking pot and bring the water to a boil. Okay, the water's boiling. It's time to put them in. I'm going to make 20 of them. Once they're in the pot, you're going to want to wait for them to float. So it looks like they're floating. I stir them around, they're floating. So it's time to put them in bowls.
Hey Fremont, it's Mr. Caprilas. Today I'm going to make one of my all-time favorite recipes from my childhood, which has now become a favorite of my family's, meatball oven dinner. I'm going to start out by making the meatballs first, so let me show you. I've already been to the store and I just want to show you what's going into the meatballs. First we start with some ground beef, then we have some onion, green pepper, cornmeal, black pepper, salt, ground mustard, chili powder, evaporated milk, couple of eggs, and we also put in some a beaten egg. So I'm gonna get started on making the meatballs now, and I'll be back with you in a minute. All right, time to put in all the ingredients for the meatballs. Now I realize some of you may not eat meat, so make sure to use a meat substitute, but I still think this will be really, really good. So we got our green pepper in here. We got to put 4 tablespoons in here. I will try to get 4 and maybe throw a little bit more in here. And then I got 4 tablespoons of onions. And then we'll get the rest of the ingredients in here. And gosh, that's looking pretty good here. These will all make the flavors of the meatballs really delicious. For what's next, cornmeal. 1/2 cup of cornmeal. This actually is interesting because cornmeal usually is like an extender, but in this particular case, it's not only an extender, it actually really adds some really great flavor to it. Okay, 2 teaspoons of salt. Half teaspoon, or 1/4 teaspoon, excuse me, pepper. By the way, I'm doubling this, so when you look at the recipe, I'm doubling the amount for the meatballs just because we really like these meatballs more than anything else. 3 teaspoons of dry mustard. The next thing I want to do is get ready for mixing the meatballs together and getting ready to go into the frying pan so we can brown them a little bit. All right, so it's time now. I got all the ingredients in here for the meatballs, but I got to take my ring off because I don't want my ring in there. I've already washed my hands, but let me go do that. So go ahead and pause for a second. I'll go wash my hands. Ring, now it's time to get down and dirty. Here we go. We're going to mix everything in here. And notice that I'm getting the yolk of the eggs. I'm mixing that in and breaking that apart. It says to put a beaten egg, but I prefer to just break it apart when it's in here. And you're mixing everything in. I can feel the onions and the green pepper sliding through my fingers to make me know that I'm actually getting everything mixed together. I'm going to make sure that everything is getting well mixed. I usually like to stick my fingers in to poke them down in to make sure that you're moving a lot of the ingredients all the way around, because we're going to get all of the spices that we put in, the pepper and the peppers and the onions and the green pepper and the mustard and the salt and pepper, all of that stuff, and the cornmeal. You want to get it really well mixed in. So now you'll see that I'm actually taking the meatballs out. I try to get them just a size about this big, and I roll them around in my hands, and it's going to stick to your hands. The meatballs just do that. And then I roll them in flour, And you're going to notice that I actually end up putting them in a frying pan where I actually have some hot butter in there. Now, the recipe does call for Crisco, which I've used in the past, but I like the butter. It just makes it taste a little bit better. And since I've doubled this, we should get 24 meatballs out of this. We got the last couple of meatballs in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the sauce ready to put in. The way we do it is it's just tomato sauce. I put it in, and I just am heating it up real quickly. Okay? It's a little dry here, but we're going to put all the sauce in here. Just heat it up for just a minute. And I put in more tomato sauce than it calls for because we love the tomato sauce. It really brings out the flavors that we've got in. So now we're going to take this tomato sauce that we poured into the frying pan where all the meatballs are getting cooked, and we're just going to pour it over here. You want to get some pretty good coverage, but of course it's going to simmer up because we're going to cover this and put aluminum foil on the top, so it will definitely cook through everything that we've got. So have the aluminum foil on, and we've got the oven set to 350. We're going to put it in here. This big boy cooks for 90 minutes. 90 minutes and sometimes longer with all those meatballs in there, but we'll check it in about that time.
If you like these recipes, please make sure to check out the Fremont Cookbook for more recipes to try.
This wraps up our first edition of Fremont TV Firebirds.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to stay updated through your school email and Instagram at FirebirdFelipe.
And be sure to check out our next episode coming out very soon. And with that,
Fremont, you know!
bye Firebirds!